Shalom, Kol Halo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever, the 144,000. And the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like those heathen. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And this is going to be part two to a video I did the other day called Cognitive Dissonance and Willful Ignorance to the Medieval and Dark Age Negro Rulership of Eurasia. All right. And so the first, video was I went heavy into precepts preparing for this video, which is going to be mostly the show and tell, the receipts. I said that I would show the receipts, and you're looking at one of them right now. But before I let it roll and then come with a few more with about a couple other short videos, just to solidify the evidence against the Edomite or self-proclaimed white lies that are still being pushed to this day, even though they've been destroyed and been proven to be lies, but yet they still push them because that's just who these people are. All right, but this is 2 Ezra 6:27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. All right, so the disingenuous nature of Hollywood, I was just on TV the other day, and there was probably about 20 different Viking things popped up, and they're always showing you Vikings as so-called white people. They're always showing you Irish and Scots as so-called white people, where they were not. The Britons as so-called white people. The bones, the bosque that they found all over Europe, all right, from Ireland to Scotland to Britain, were those of the people that you're looking at on the screen after the fall of Rome. After the fall of Rome, these were the people that took over. Point blank, period. So when you're watching, all these movies, this Braveheart and all that, they're aesthetically incorrect and false. All right. The Roman Empire, as you often hear me say, was like being in New York or Chicago today. Everyone was there. The ruling class people were the Edomites, so-called white people, but heavily involved in the politics and in the government and in the military especially were the people that you're looking at on the screen. They were more than just slaves and gladiators. All right. Because watching, Hollywood, they made you to believe that Eurasia was just full of, pale people only. All right. And that's a complete and total lie. All right. Rome, the kingdom of the kingdom of Rome, which spread all, throughout Europe and Italy and, the Mediterranean and into Africa, and right across the Mediterranean was Africa, full of brown people, plus all the Arab nations who were also really brown. They were dark complected, still to this day, but especially back then, because, there are many Arabs that are just as dark and darker than some Negroes. All right. But the Israelites were all through those communities, even back then, and they were in North Africa. They were in the Mediterranean. They were in Eurasia. They were speckled all about that. All right. So now this is the Bristol Psalter. That's what this is. And we're going to let the video play. Let the evidence play. That's Latin that you're looking at. All right. Prior to it being changed to, to English, King James, and which the Lord put the spirit on King James to do that, because the number one place, the number one language that all the Israelites speak, that has been scattered, is English. All right. So, and if you notice, when you watch the movies, all the demonic movies and witchcraft movies, all witchcraft is spoken in Latin, never in Hebrew. All right. So the Catholic Church, uses Latin. Go figure. And Hebrew is a language of heaven, not Latin. Latin is a language of the devil. All right. That's why, like I said, all witchcraft is enchantments are done in Latin. It's not a holy language at all. So it's showing you people, all of Mesopotamia, Western Asia, what they fraudulently call the Middle East, was dark. The Chaldeans were. So going back over 1,000 years ago, they were being painted before the Renaissance, before self-proclaimed white man got into power and then whitewashed history. Well, this is what you saw. And when you go to the museums, this stuff is kept in basements or not put out. All right. So they're very disingenuous, and they push lies to support white superiority, which whiteness is a self-proclaimed and made up concept, which is a fraud. Because these people, someone would look at these people and say, well, they were black people. No, these people are brown. All right. There's no such thing as black or white people. Those are false social constructs that were created to support this newfound white superiority doctrine, which is still pushed to this day, indirectly and both directly. Okay. Now, this also disproves the notion of white superiority doctrines that teach that so-called black people had no culture and no language. And then you need to explain this 11th century art. All right. There's also 9th, 7th, 6th, and 4th century art, which is pretty much the same. All right. This shit wasn't painted yesterday. What Putin showed you, I think that the stuff he showed you was from the 13th century, I believe. And remember, Esau, Edom began to come into power, back into power, after the curses, that 1,000-year period, when upon their belly they went. The dragon that was wounded, which was Rome, but didn't die. They came back into power through the Renaissance. And this time they whitewashed history. They hid who the Israelites were. When you read, when you get to Psalms, the 83rd chapter, the crafty counsel, which went against the hidden ones. Well, you look at the hidden ones, because they hid this during the time of the Renaissance, and it's been hidden up until now. All right, especially with in 2007, when the elders and the apostles of the Great Millstone, went live or started putting their videos up on the internet, and even some other Hebrews as well. All right, all the fakes, the false narrative, this controlled narrative of paleness has not only been challenged, but it's been defeated. All right. So to all you racist, people who want to hold on to your Viking lies, your Irish lies, your Scottish lies, well, as it appears, we really were kings and shit. So let's run it. We're going to run it back without interruption. And I highly suggest that anyone who's really, serious about learning to screenshot each one of these images, because this is hardcore evidence, receipts against, white supremacy lies, so-called made-up whiteness, all right, because they're really red. They're the nation of Edom, and that's what they. So they, they became Caucasian, they became white, anything to avoid being Idumeans, the hated Edomites of the Bible, who is prophesied to be the ruling class people in the end of the world when the Lord returned. All right. So, that makes it also clear they're not Japhet. Japhet was also melanated. They took Eurasia or Asia from Japhet and added the Euro in it to support the lies of what is white superiority today. Can't say it enough. So here we are without interruption. So there you go. So they've been proven to be the liars that they are. So Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, they were all from this period. Those were so-called black people. All right. Shakespeare, in his autobiography, described himself as a black Jew boy. All right. So, so now I'm going to show you some evidences of, when you read about in Genesis, when the midwives were ordered to kill the sons of the Israelites, not the daughters, but the men, because they understand that it was a clear understanding that the heritage of a people was carried on through their men, not their women. All right. He said, kill the male child, all right, the men children, but leave the women, the female children alive. Why? Because they can, because they would let those girls grow up and be impregnated and be bed wenches for the Hamites, the other dark race of people. All right. And so this is to prove that the Hamites were indeed, dark complected as well, so-called Africans. All right. And that prior to the conquering of Alexander of Macedon, who then put white people in power in Egypt. And then you have a period where they want to show you, white Egyptians, just to try to cover up the white superiority lie. So this is a collection of videos, shorts that I'll show from TikTok, all right, on Kemites, which is really Ham, all right, Hamites, the curse of Ham. The Hamites who the Israelites, remember, were the original pharaohs. What's that television show or the cable show? Those who are about to die, all right? In the third season, I mean, not the third season, but in the third episode, the Hamite Kwame has a conversation with the Edomite about before the conquering of Alexander, when the black pharaohs. All right, and then the queen of the JOO-ish, all right, the the converts, she admits toward the end of the episode that she was a daughter of Herod, making her Edomite. So proving the conversion of so-called white people to, and then them following of the Talmud and claiming that, basically today, B.B. Milkowski's people. All right. But here's the receipts on the Hamites now.
What they don't want you to know. Looks just like the hair on our heads today. So if anybody tries to tell you that Egypt...
Now that's a so-called black woman that doesn't know that there's a difference between a Negro and a Hamite. All right.
...is a white civilization, you can point out this hair. So those of you who have your cameras, you want to make sure you take a good picture of it. But this is what Gaston Maspero, an Egyptologist, said about the hair in the Nile in Egypt. He says that
so they had woolly hair. And remember in Amos, I believe it's Amos 9 and 8, where it says how the Lord put a difference between, the Israelite and the Ethiopian. And so they came up with all these, this false science, to try to, to try to get around the truth. Next video.
That when people of African ancestry are exposed to the truths that have been historically.
Once again, another Israelite that knows that Egypt was full of dark people, which is true, but they're not but the so-called Negro and the African are not the same people. All right, just want to make that clear. But this proves that the Israelites were not so-called white people. And it looks like they have a image of Cleopatra there. Cleopatra was a so-called white woman, an Edomite. Even if she was melanated, she still was an Idumean.
Hidden away from us. It changes the way we see ourselves. It increases our level of respect for ourselves.
Okay, because Moses grew up in the house of the pharaohs, the black pharaohs. If he was a little white, Jewish boy, which there's no such, that's something that came. The Israelites were not Jewish. That's actually a word that pertains to only the one tribe of Judah. Okay, you can't, so that's a whole thing, that letter J and that invention of that word to create confusion. Next video.
This is exactly what I've been talking about. They try to whitewash the history. But check this out. The deeper they go, guess what they find? The more melanin they find.
Now, that vault was opened up about 5-6 years ago. All right. It was all over RT before they took RT off of American Airways. All right. So, the so-called white man is a liar, and he's just being found out to be, an extreme liar. Okay, so, the evidence is just overwhelming as to who is who and what's what. And, and I just find it amazing that you still have, Miles Perfect. I was hoping that it would just show that image and not do all this.
All right, y'all, welcome to the show.
But there was an image of BB Milkowski standing in front of that that JOO-ish flag, and then in huge words it said Israel is collapsing. All right, it said Israel is collapsing. So the fact is that their lies, it is collapsing in more ways than others. Let's see if we can just get it on the screen there. Right there. What's happening is that they are collapsing. And not only they're collapsing, as far as the war and their economy and all that stuff, but the lies that they've built up about who they are and who they are not, it's all coming out. Because how can this be, all right, when this is? All right, so I'm going to read that 2nd Ezra again. 2nd Ezra 6:27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched, As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared, and it's being declared. Call halal Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash, Kwam Yasharala, Abad Babal.